Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. I have a ton of housing market updates to share with you today, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Lumber prices have been dropping like crazy lately. Over the past month, they have dropped approximately 40%. The drop in prices is bad news for thieves who've been stealing from construction sites and lumber yards, but it's good news for home buyers. If you've been living under a rock, lumber futures prices hit an all-time high of almost $1,700 per thousand board feet about 1 month ago. However, as fast as lumber prices went up, they went down just as fast. That's because they dropped to the current price of around $930, which is almost a 40% drop over the past 30 days. In addition, lumber has dropped in price by approximately 15% just over the last 1 week alone. This is one of the biggest drops of the lumber futures contract prices ever. As we look into the future, this is good news for home builders who need the price of construction materials to go down so they can build houses at a reasonable cost. This in turn is good news for home buyers because if home builders can construct more new houses, this would increase housing inventory to help stabilize this insane housing market. The reason for the drop of lumber prices is mainly due to two factors. Number one, sawmills have been ramping up production. And number two, buyers of lumber, including do-it-yourselfers and builders, are finally balking at historically high lumber prices and have been putting their projects on hold. For example, home improvement sales are down 8% in May compared with the all-time peak set in March. The increase of prices of building materials is causing housing inventory for new houses to drop. The National Association of Home Builders, or the NAHB, stated the following: despite a diminished level of overall housing inventory and solid demand due to low mortgage interest rates and demographics, new construction has been limited in its ability to add a needed supply to the market, resulting in unsustainable gains for home prices. So let's hope the drop of lumber future prices causes home builders to ramp up construction in the coming months. But so far that's not happening, and I'll explain that here in just a little bit. Meanwhile, many home builders across the nation have long waiting lists from home buyers in order to purchase a house, of course making it very difficult to purchase one. In the meantime, the Builders Association reported that despite a significant amount of demand from home buyers out there, the rising material prices for building new houses and supply chain shortages caused builder confidence to dip to its lowest level since August 2020. The chairman of the association stated the following: these higher building costs have moved some new homes beyond the budget of prospective buyers, which has slowed the strong pace of home building. Policymakers need to focus on supply chain issues in order to allow the economic recovery to continue. The chief economist of the Builders Association, Robert Diaz, said the following: while builders have adopted a variety of business strategies, including price escalation clauses to deal with scarce building materials, labor, and lots, unavoidable increases for new home prices are pushing some buyers to the sidelines. We can actually see this when looking at the total number of mortgage applications. So according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, or the MBA, they reported last week that mortgage applications for new houses dipped by 9% in May compared with the previous month. This is now the second consecutive month of declines. However, the average loan size of $384,000 for a new home purchase increased for the fourth consecutive month and reached a new all-time high. According to the MBA, loan balances continue to rise because of a larger share of sales in the higher end market, as well as increased sales prices from strong demand and elevated building material costs. They added that the MBA's estimate of new home sales showed that the seasonally adjusted annualized pace of sales dropped 4% in May. Since reaching a survey high of 927,000 units in October 2020, the annual pace of new home sales has now fallen around 20%, weighed down by low housing inventory and bing, 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 rising home prices. I've said this over and over again on the channel, but in my personal opinion, the growth of home prices is completely not sustainable. It's not normal for home prices to increase by 20% year over year. So in my opinion, more and more home buyers are going to get priced out as home prices increase, and that could slow down our housing market. And speaking of rising prices, the cost of construction building materials are up 23% from 1 year ago. This is causing housing construction to slow dramatically. And Robert Diaz stated the following: single-family permits declined to its lowest pace since September 2020 as the home building market cools somewhat to adjust to higher prices and longer delivery times of building materials. I can definitely attest to the fact that we have a delay of building materials and also appliances as well, because my wife and I were out shopping for appliances the other day, and we were told by multiple dealers that we should expect a delay of getting appliances by 4 to 6 months. On top of this, prices were going up recently as well. The delays in price increases is seen in virtually every aspect of building a house, and this is causing some home builders to hit the pause button on building new houses. We can see this when looking at the latest report from the US Census Bureau, because they reported last Wednesday that permits pulled for new single-family houses decreased by 1.6% in May compared with the previous month. And that was mainly driven by a large 15.1% decrease in the Midwest. In addition, and this is something very, very important to note here because it's becoming a growing trend that home builders are pulling permits but not yet starting construction. What this means is that the home builder has been given authorization to start construction by the city or county, but they have opted to not start construction. And I noticed that this figure has increased 3.6% in May from April 2021. And also have a look at this because the number of single-family homes authorized but not yet under construction has increased every single month so far this year. In addition, housing starts, which is the beginning phase of the construction of a brand new house, those only increased 4.2% in May, which were mainly driven by a huge month-to-month increase in the Midwest region. And by the way, I'm not going to share year-over-year stats for housing construction in the US because our housing construction in the US dropped big time in May of last year due to this pandemic. Meanwhile, the Census Bureau reported that the number of single-family houses that were actually completed decreased by 2.6% in May. Something else that you should definitely be aware of is the fact that mortgage interest rates have been surging up lately. So according to the Mortgage News Daily, rates averaged 3.03% on June 11th of this year, but they now have increased to about 3.26%. The last time mortgage rates were this high was in mid-April. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And also consider subscribing as well. I post videos about how this pandemic is affecting our housing market. You also can follow me on Instagram. I'm Sacramento Realtor. Hope you have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.